Today, we're going to crack the code on something that can be a real headache for a lot of people: academic writing. We're going to demystify what it really means to write like a scholar and turn that confusing feedback into a clear path forward.
So, have you ever stared at that comment on a paper, just wondering what on earth it even means? If so, you are definitely not alone. It's probably one of the most common and, let's be honest, frustrating pieces of feedback out there. So, what are you even supposed to do about it?
Well, here's the key. This is the big insight. Academic writing isn't just about using big words or complicated sentences. It's really about entering a new culture. Seriously, think of it like learning a brand new language, so you can communicate effectively inside a very specific community, the academic community. To really master this, we first have to understand the rules of this new world. And this goes way beyond just grammar. It's about learning to think and present your ideas in a way that this specific culture truly values.
So what is your professor really looking for when they read your paper? Well, yeah, they want proof that you understand the subject, but they also want to see that you can present it with your own original analysis. They're looking for critical thinking, your ability to weigh the strengths and weaknesses of arguments, all wrapped up in that classic, clear structure: an intro, a body, and a conclusion.
This table really spells out the shift you need to make. Our everyday language is personal, right? It often depends on shared context. Think about saying something like, "he's over there." That only works if we're in the same room. But in academic writing, everything has to be spelled out. Why? Because objectivity is the name of the game. The goal is to present findings that can be understood by anyone, anywhere. And that requires formal, context-independent language. And check out that last point about noun phrases. Instead of saying, "the program failed because the system was slow," you might see something like, "the failure of the new software implementation was a direct result of significant system latency." It sounds a little more complex, but it's really just a way of packing more precise information into a formal structure.
Okay, so we understand the culture. Now, how do we actually write this way? Well, we're going to break it down into 7 essential tools for your toolkit, what I like to call the 7 C's of academic style. That's right, just 7. Focusing on these core principles can totally transform your writing from confusing to compelling, and it makes the whole process feel so much more manageable.
First up, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, is clarity. Your goal is to make your ideas impossible to misunderstand. This means you've got to avoid vague terms and overly complicated sentences. Your writing should be like a clean window into your thoughts, not a foggy mess.
And here is a perfect example. Young children is vague. I mean, how young are we talking? And bad speakers is pretty subjective. But 6-year-old children and poor speakers, now that's specific and precise. This small change makes the entire statement so much more credible and clear.
Next up is conciseness. You know, academic writing really values efficiency. This isn't about sounding complicated. It's about getting your point across directly and formally. Every single word you use should serve a purpose.
This slide really shows how word choice is key. While you might say someone was blitzed in a conversation, words like inebriated or intoxicated carry the formal, precise meaning that's required in an academic paper. Choosing the right word is both concise and totally appropriate for the context.
Our third C is coherence. This is all about logical flow. Your ideas have to connect smoothly, guiding the reader through your argument step by step. A simple but really powerful technique is to repeat key nouns to keep the reader anchored. Forgetting to do this can lead to some serious confusion, as we're about to see.
See this? The writer starts talking about fear, then just keeps using the pronoun it. After a couple of sentences, you start to wonder, wait, what is it referring to again? The overuse of that one little word creates confusion and just breaks the flow completely. Now look at this revision. By simply repeating the key noun fear, the paragraph becomes crystal clear. There's zero confusion, right? This just shows how a really small change can create a strong, coherent argument that's so much easier for your reader to follow. All right, to round out our toolkit, we have the final 4 C's. First up, correctness. This is your foundation. Simple errors in grammar or spelling can seriously undermine your credibility. Next, courtesy. Academia is a conversation, not a battle. Engaging respectfully with other people's work, even when you're critiquing it, shows you're a serious member of that conversation. Then, confidence. Now, this isn't about arrogance, it's about the conviction that comes from a well-structured argument that's backed up by solid evidence. And finally, citations. This is the bedrock of academic integrity. You've got to give credit where it's due. It shows you've done your research and lets others follow your intellectual trail.
So we've decoded the culture, and we've got our tools. Now let's put it all together and see the final picture, what it truly means to move from just being a writer to communicating like a real scholar.
Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet. Always remember, your audience is academic, your purpose is argumentation. Your approach is often what's called problematizing, which just means you're questioning or challenging existing ideas, not just summarizing them. Your tone must be rational, your content has to be credible and well-sourced, and your style needs to be highly cohesive. Keep this guide in mind, and you will always be on the right track.
At the end of the day, academic writing isn't some mystical art. It's a skill. It's a code that can be learned, and you now have the keys and the tools to use it effectively. The only question left is, what will you build with them?